Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, just want to talk about, I've been doing videos about people who are basically like grifters, con artists, whether it's online or offline. The ones that like online, they're Ebeggars. They come up with some story about, oh, their life is really bad and all that. And they make videos about how bad their lives, or they don't have food to eat. Some of them use kids or teenagers or whatever age and say they don't have enough food, or they don't have this, or my mother or my grandmother or my, somebody, some way, they're going to say it's themselves. They don't have enough money, and people start sending money. And then they get a high and they off of that, or they just were planning on doing it in the first place. And it's so scripted, and it just keeps going and keeps going. They always find something else, something they need money for, this, that, and the other. And at some point, you see them do things like go out and spend a bunch of money on something. Sometimes they get their hair done, their nails. They go to a spa. They go on vacation. They go to restaurants that are expensive, this, that, and the other. Whatever it is, with people, they were crying. They didn't have enough money. These people. Okay. I've been doing those, on and off for almost 11 years that I've been making YouTube videos on my original channel. But it's more like 10 years because I didn't use that channel for that. But about once every year, something would happen and I would, like I run across a video or somebody's doing that, recommended to me, and somebody's doing some form of that, swindler, charlatans, whatever, and I would make videos. And it's, like I said, it's so scripted what they do. They don't all do the exact same thing, of course, or they don't all do all of the things, but pretty much the same. And the ending is, not always the same either. But at some point myself, I get just, it's usually when they start really acting out like children. Not like children. I don't want to insult children. Seriously, when these supposed, they're biologically they're adults, but they don't act like adults. They don't act like their mind is those of an adult. And it's sort of like temper tantrums, and they're, the way people say, use the word, common everyday use of the word delusional. They believe that they are superior to all others, and that they belong in a class high above what they are. I'm not much on all that, saying, oh, I'm in this class or that class, and other people can't be in this. No. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. We're all human. We're all equals. Okay, that's how I see it. And I'm well aware, my master's degree is in sociology, I'm well aware of what is it, the levels of classes, how that affects people. And I, understand it and factor it into my thoughts. But still, I see us. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, period. But these are people, they see themselves as high up above all others. Their audience, they're higher than their audience and their subscribers, and their thoughts are superior. To them, they believe this. Nobody else does. Maybe, you never know. They're master manipulators, so they can fool some people for a while. Some people will look up to them. They want to be like that. They want to be able to make, oh, look at the money she's making. Or look at the money he's making by talking and sharing his life or her life. And they want to be the same way, and they don't realize that some of the things these people do, it actually can be illegal. Seriously. I am not a person who's a voice of authority on the law. But I looked a bunch of this stuff up and got the AI overview and all that online, and some of it said, yeah, this can be illegal. Like people who go to food banks, food pantries, some of them call it food banks, and they don't need it, but they go there and so they can get free food and free groceries and all that, and and so they can actually save their money for other important stuff. Well, that's not what these are set up for. Period. They are not set up for somebody to save their money so they can use it for other purposes. At all. At all. That's not what they're set up for. These are for people who need food, groceries. People who actually need it and can afford it. That's not people who can afford it, who can. C-A-N. No. It's not for you. But they don't care. They just, They want to go do stuff like go on vacation. They want to go get free food from a food bank that was supposed to be for people who are, like, have kids who are going to go hungry. Elderly person, disabled, whatever is the case, that, they lost their job, they're in between jobs, they're trying hard, whatever it is, that these people actually need. No, they want different than need, to go on vacation. They want to get some more tattoos. They want to get, if anything, they want to spend their money on having fun, going out with their friends. Ugh. These people, these grifters, some people just call all of them grifters. But it's just so disgusting, so despicable. And for me, I'm talking about these, when it just, like a couple of days this week, or last week, a couple of the evenings, the past few days, I felt, kind of down in blue because of this kind of stuff, seeing too much of it from sometime last week. And then the next day, after 2 evenings, the next day, I felt it a big chunk of the day, off and on. I'm like, no, this is affecting me wrong. Stuff doesn't usually affect me that way. But this did. I have a lot of empathy, and quite often I'm thinking about the kids. And they're out for the summer, and there they are. They're not being able to eat. They're latchkey kids. The mom, say a single mom, single dad. I'm losing my voice again. They have to go work, and they, single parents, or parents that have to go work, and they have to leave their children at home. Hopefully they're doing it legally, whatever legally is where they live. And, it differs from place to place, I'm thinking. But, so those kids need the food. No, but these other people, they just want to sit back and eat the good stuff, that they cherry-picked over the good stuff, the good vegetables, the good meat, the good protein, especially protein, man. If they see any good, they're taking all of it. Okay, all of it for themselves and their children. If they have a spouse, their spouse. And they're going to eat good. When they have the money to pay for it themselves, they won't. Because they want to use it on vacation, after all. It's tough out there. Oh my God, sickening. But all that, you see how it is. It became so sickening to me. And I got down and blue about it. And now I know what's going to go with me is, and it's already started, I don't want to even think about those anymore. And usually whenever I start to feel like, I've seen the worst of what they're doing, the worst of their worst, and maybe, you never know. But other people start noticing it, and other people start saying stuff about it. And one of those, there's more than one, there's a few, okay? There are people who actually need it, but I'm talking about the ones who don't, or the ones who are just beggars, and all that, master manipulators, and all of that. But usually somebody notices, like, at least one of them, and it just, People are out there, I know, I mean, I don't see myself as the only person out there seeing these things, but usually I'm the only person saying something. And I don't leave comments on their channels. I don't, about their behaviors. I don't say their channel names. I'm not in it for a gossip, kind of channel. I'm not going to be a gossip reaction channel, as they don't want to call themselves. No, I'm just talking about the behaviors, that people do this. I use my channels as a vent, as a pressure release valve to vent when I see too. And that stuff was just so disgusting, so despicable. I was telling, Adam, I've told him a little bit, he and I met married when I was 18. I'm 62 now. But I told him, a little about what's going on, and kind of ask him how he would see them. And basically, he said one word, and then he goes, but really, he said, they're just all low lives. And it's not low class, it's low life. Yeah, I can see it. I told him, I said, yeah, I can agree with you. People who do such a thing, it's not something people should, in my view, this is my view, his view, sit there and watch and say, oh, I want to be like that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, that's a good idea. Because they put it and they start promoting it too. Some of them promote it. Oh, you just go to these food banks. They let anybody in. You see if yours does. And you can bet some of these people lie. Like I said, some of it can be illegal. Some of it can be against the law. Okay? So really, is it all that worth it? Do you want to go to have a prison sentence? The fines and all that? To be cool? Like, oh, they're so cool. They're not cool. They're despicable. They're low lives. Like Adam, according to Adam, they're low life. Yeah, it's just so disgusting. But anyway, like I was saying, it gets to a point when, in me usually each year that, now I know, how I'll be moving off to something else, on to something else. And because it gets to that point where, you can only take so much, you can only see so much. And like I said, it's usually the time when other people start talking too. Other people start saying something somehow, some way it's out there. Most often they leave comments on the person's, the low life's channel. Or some make their own videos. Do the reaction channel kind of thing. But anyway, and I think to some degree, anything that is legal, it is okay to do it. Nobody's going to get in trouble for doing it. Society needs to take care of itself to some degree. I'm not talking about anything, what is it, vigilante? No. But people need to say, I don't know. I'm not going to say what people need to say. What I would is shame on you. And man, that's a big thing these days. I was looking up shame, how it used to be considered shame or shaming someone, and how it is now. Man, you want to talk about a change in definition, a change in focus, and all that, and it is not for the better at all. It's kind of like what is a problem these days is people letting people get away with stuff that is bad because you don't want to shame them. Wow, really. But I mean, it goes deeper than that. It's way deep. What is that noise? I hear something in my SUV making some noise. It could be when I first got this SUV. Sometimes, like, if the air conditioner was running, I would hear drip, 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 drip. I bought it new. So it's like, what in the world? But anyway. Okay, did you hear me hit the, yeah, I did. But anyway, it got to be too much. Plus, once that kind of thing starts, once I say you, I mean I, see so much you know, this disgusting way that some of them act. Like the whole thing of some of them will say, depending on what they do, many of these, not all of them, okay, but some of these, and like I'm trying to stress, it's not all, but some do these food delivery, you know, for extra, you know, whether it's their full-time job or their part-time job. And some will say, you know, quite often it's their part-time job. So imagine it, they're working, then they have a full-time job, then they have a part-time job. And then some of them that have both of those then go to food banks and get the free food. And so they can use the money they would spend on it at the grocery store. They use it on vacations and, like I said, you know, tattoos and, jewelry, makeup, whatever. And that's not what it's set up for. And shame on them. But really, anyway, I'm repeating myself. But yeah, this is, it gets to be, when I just see it, you know, other people are seeing it, and other people start to see it, and then I start to get just, it's been too disgusting to watch. And they start talking about how they work for, like those I'm just talking about, they work for a premium service. They either call it that, you know, the food delivery. Somebody's delivering, you know, food from a restaurant, fast food restaurant, you know, and then the people who do the food delivery act like they are the top of the food chain. Pardon me, but yeah, like they belong to they work for, there's a premium service, and the people, the customers, and they talk bad about the people working in the stores, or the restaurants. They talk bad about the customers. They are superior to all of them, that in their minds, and they have this premium service, or something like that. They'll use the term, and then they look like, and they're not taking care of themselves. They look like something like, you know, the expression that the cat dragged in. Their hair is all dirty and unkept, oily, greasy, you know, like they have not bathed. I mean, you can only imagine, how is your hair, you know, gets that filthy, and then they don't even take care of their fingernails. You're holding people's stuff, take care of your fingernails. Gross. And they dress really awful. I mean, like, you know, like people like you think, overall you think bad hygiene altogether. You can actually see stains on their clothing, and these are stuff that they probably bought 20 years ago. You know, and yeah, I know. Should people judge you by the way you look? Well, when you're acting like you're working for some premium service, that's not premium service. They're setting themselves up for that, to say that they're premium, and then tell the customer, if you can afford it, to give me the to go on and say, you know, the tip that they deserve, that you shouldn't be on our premium service. Well, if you can afford to buy clothes and wash your hair and clean yourself, and you don't need to be doing a premium service. How's that? Like people to pick on you, to tell you what you want, what you are. It's so disgusting. It gets so despicable. You know, how they speak, how they, you know, break traffic rules, laws, and blame it and say it's stupid, and blame the, you know, they're going to just stop in the middle of the road to go deliver something. I've actually seen that in person more than once. And then they look at anybody who's around like, well, you're the problem. It's just so low life. I'm gonna look up the definition. I'm gonna do a video about the definition, the AI overview on low life, or have I already? No, I'm going to. But it's just so. But then, like I said, you can tell that I'm saying is, I just move on. I already said that. I just move on. I go, you know, But you can come back, I can come back a year, 2 years, 3 years later, whenever. And sometimes these people are still chugging at it, still doing the same thing. I mean, when you see them the same thing, ugh. Or you see some of them, they only worsen because like the clothing thing, and how some of the clothing is filthy. Okay, filthy. It's old, which, yeah, a lot of people don't have money, but they do. Okay, and it's old. I'm not going to say tattered, because for some that's a fashion statement, but, fashion trend. But some of them, it's like, okay, they dropped some food on themselves and they didn't, it's stained, and, well, it's stained, so it's there. My goodness. Or they've gotten much bigger. Yeah. They don't have money for food, but they got much bigger. I don't judge anybody by their size, no. But when you're saying stuff like that, and then the result is there, when they say lies like that to manipulate people, get $2, from some people who are on fixed incomes, and they'll donate $2 because they'll feel sorry, they'll feel empathy for somebody who says they don't have money for food, they can't afford to eat. So they'll donate their last $2. And then you see these people go out there and buy food, make a meal. Well, here it is. It's right in my SUV. I wrote them down. I actually figured out, I've been a homemaker since I was 18. So even before then, among other things, employee, so forth. Okay, anyway, what was it? The side salad for $2. One of them that didn't have money for groceries. Side salad for 2 people. I had it up. Got online, looked up the prices of these things, where that person lives. And, well, some of it was here, I think. But anyway, this is Texas. It's cheaper anyway. But still, side salad for 2. $42.14. That's just the side salad. Then I did the main courses, and the most expensive out of them was $38.33 for 2. So add that together, exactly $80 for 1 meal. 1 meal. Okay, 1. I don't know. Can any of you afford $80? I mean, don't tell me. I don't want to know. But do you think that person that donated $2, let's do it that way instead. The person that donated $2 can afford $80 to cook one meal a day, just 1 meal total for just 2 people? Seriously, these people, and they're going to go to food banks for some of the rest of it. Now, I'm going to say this: that one that did the $42 and something. No, that's not one of the ones I'm talking about that does the food bank thing. I think that one had been to one before, or something like that. But no, the stuff that one bought, it was new, it was fresh. Purchased by them. Yeah. $42.14 for a side salad. I have been there years ago. I've been through a lot in my life, and I'm well enough off now. I'm not saying I'm wealthy. I'm saying I'm well enough off, and so I don't really worry about. I don't have any food insecurities. Isn't that what they call it? I don't have to worry right now. I mean, I know that things can change just like snap. I do know how that is. And So so some would say, well, you don't know what it means. What it's like. Yeah, I do. I know what it's like. I would never take food away from a child in need or an elderly person who's on a fixed income, doesn't even have money to, this is Texas. They don't have enough money to run their air conditioner, a little window unit. They can buy a window unit for like under $100, but they don't have the money to buy one. And they certainly don't have the money to pay the electricity on it that they would need. And these low life people who do that, that's low life, go there just so they can go on vacations, gotta get their new tattoos, their new rings, their new makeup, their new hairstyle, their new shirts, clothing. These people can't even afford all that. I think this is going to be, hopefully, my last little vent about this. But it might not be. Because some of these, I've seen some say, just go all off and say it's none of your business. I mean, not to me. They don't know I exist, probably. But anyway, they went all, they go all off telling people who are watching that it's none of their business. Well, you're making it their business because you're doing videos and you're talking to them like that. All right? Yeah. And, just, like I said, I looked it up. I did the AI overview, and it said, yes, it can. Some of it can be illegal. Even the stuff that was, what was it that I saw? The people just grifters. Just, people saying they don't have money for this or that or the other. It might be. Yeah. But some just think that they think it, therefore they can do it. And sometimes I wonder about their logic. Why would you think there's a food program out there that is okay, a food bank program that's there for the people who need food, that it's okay for you to get your food there for free and use your money that you would have paid because you have it on yourself and your family? I don't know how tattoos benefit your family, and your clothing, and your hair, and your makeup. I'm sure you can justify it, but what's this kind of logic? Well, trust me, I do know. God, gross. It's just, like I said, I get to this point, and then there's no more need until the next year. Like I say, usually it's the next year. I don't know if I did it the past year or two, because there's so much else was going on in my life. So much else with my health and all, and I kept winding up in the hospital, at least the ER, and still don't have a diagnosis for some of that diagnoses. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I'll wrap this up. Like I said, this might be, enough for this year. Although you never know. Sometimes some of these people you're like, okay, I got to vent this out. I'll make my own video, vent it out. Tell people about, hey, look at these behaviors. No, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. I never do that. I never, suggest people do this or that. It's more like unless I do it like a figure, not a figure of speech, but you know what I'm saying, like, we just say it that way. Well, think about this, like that. Oh, you don't need to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Or any suggestions, any of that. But, anyway, I think I summed up everything. But yeah, I'll move. This is the point where I just, usually something else comes up, but this has been too disgusting. Honestly, like I said, I still might look up get the AI overview and talk about it, of low life. Yeah, I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.